Hey friends, welcome back. Hopefully you made it through the tuning module. I know it's a little bit of a beast. It is for all of us, and it's one of those things that once you get it down, you'll have it, and it'll be a great skill that you can just keep using over and over again. So glad you're here. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Today we're going to talk about guitar picks. So if you don't have a guitar pick yet, totally fine, not a problem. But what we're going to be covering is thicknesses and sizes of picks, different kind of materials they're made from, what's best for beginners, how to hold a pick properly, and whether or not you need to use one all the time. So let's jump right into thicknesses and sizes of guitar picks. So guitar picks come in all thicknesses and sizes. They can come as thin as tracing paper and as thick as stainless steel, literally. And we'll talk about that in just a sec. Sizes of guitar picks include way too small, where you can't even hold them, way too big, where it's way too big for your hand, even too big for my hands. I've got pretty big hands. And just right, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about what we recommend. So as far as thicknesses of picks, it really depends a lot of the time on what kind of material it's made from. So we've got guitar picks that are made of plastic, nylon, tortoiseshell, felt, leather, metal, credit cards. Yeah, they make punchers that you can punch out of old credit cards, guitar picks. So it's pretty cool. But it really depends on what kind of material they're made out of. But I've got some of these materials here. Most of the guitar picks that I currently play with are made of plastic or nylon. Those are the most common ones. They're actually the most cheap guitar picks as well, in my personal experience. Nylon's a little bit more expensive than plastic, but I usually play with nylon or with plastic. So now what about you? What's best for you? Well, I personally recommend medium thickness guitar picks. Now, if you are a beginner and you don't have any guitar picks, or you're just like, hey, I want to try out, maybe something that you recommend, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link down below where you can actually go find guitar picks that would work for you. And this is going to be a variety pack, so you're going to have plenty of thicknesses to choose from, and so you can you can try out, see what you like. And some people prefer really thin picks. In fact, I did for a long time. Some people prefer really thick picks, and some people prefer something in between. So it just really depends on kind of your preference. Now, believe it or not, there is a correct way to hold a guitar pick. And when I first started playing guitar, I didn't know this. So I'm looking forward to giving you this skill early. And always, of course, feel free to rewind if you need to see it again. So let's go ahead and do this together. Go ahead and take your guitar pick. I'm going to use a Primetone Dunlop USA. It's a .73, so it's a little bit on the, it's around medium, a little bit medium to thick maybe, compared to what I have used to play with. But I'm going to use that. And this has grip on it as well. So I'm going to use this to show you what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is we're going to think of the guitar pick as an extension of the rest stroke. Remember, right? Big old thumbs up. So we're going to think of the guitar pick as an extension of the rest stroke. So go ahead and let's do this together, all right? Go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, all right? And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to make this pick square with my thumb. See how that is? I'm taking it in my left hand by the pointy part, putting my thumb up behind it, okay? See how that's square? See how that line right there is right in line with my thumb? It's almost like it fits, right? All right, now if you know sign language, remember the letter X? So that's how we're actually going to hold the guitar pick. We're going to make that letter X, okay? And what we're going to do is, with our big thumbs up, we're going to wrap our finger around, like the sign language X, sign language letter X. And look at that. Looks familiar, right? Big thumbs up, guitar pick. Okay. Now, see how my thumb and my pointer finger are square? See how they're in line? That's how you want it. You don't want it like this. You don't even want it like that. You want it like this as much as you can. I know it might feel awkward at first, but really it's the most comfortable way to hold the guitar pick, okay? Now, again, it's just an extension of the rest stroke. All right, that's all it is, so we can think of it that way. All right, so do I need to use one all the time? In short, no. But when it comes to strumming up, I personally feel like the guitar pick helps me to not feel like a strange sensation in my hands as I'm going up with the backside of my thumb. I just don't really love that feeling. So I personally like to use a guitar pick, especially when I'm strumming a lot up and down. So that's my thought on that. Again, you can play with just your fingers, totally fine. Plenty of people that do that. All right, so for a recap of today, what we talked about is the thicknesses and sizes of picks. They range from way too thick to way too thin. I personally recommend a medium guitar pick. We talked about some materials they can be made from. What's best for beginners would be a medium guitar pick. You can use grip on you can have grip on your guitar pick. You don't have to, but it's there for you if you want to. And then if you want to use a pick, we talked about, hey, here's how to hold a pick properly. We want it square. We want it just to be an extension of that rest stroke, and that's going to be the most secure way to hold a guitar pick. And lastly, do I need to use one? Not necessarily, but if you want to, you can. Let me add one final thing here before we go. When we're using guitar picks, we want to make sure that we're not holding our pick too tight or too loosely. Too tight, what it's going to do is it's going to result in a lot of buzzing and clunking from your strings. So just loosen your grip a little bit if you're kind of hearing that. If it sounds like you're really trying to force some sound out of your strings. And if you're holding your pick too lightly, generally it's probably going to fall into the sound hole or it might fall on the ground. So tighten your grip just a little bit. But you want something in between to where your pick's able to be flexible, but it's not falling out of your hand, but it's also not so rigid that you're kind of getting a lot of unpleasant sound out of your guitar, okay? All right, so that's just one little final tip there. So what are we going to talk about next? Well, you guessed it, fretting notes. I know you probably didn't guess it, but you probably saw it there. So there it is. So fretting notes, we're going to talk about that. So what we're going to do for action items this week, don't practice using a pick until you can use it correctly. Practice until you can't use it incorrectly, all right? And like I said, go back and review if you've got any questions or thoughts that you're still working through. Go back and review, spend a little bit of time working through this because this is really important, okay, if you're going to be playing with a guitar pick. So practice using them until they're easy for you and you can teach someone else how to use it, all right? Hey, you're doing great. Keep it up. We'll see you soon.